How's it going, everyone? Sean here from Raw Technique Studios. I recently put out a survey to see what YouTube video I should film next. I put out, I think it was 5 different options. If you didn't see that survey, then go down below, sign up to my email newsletter or my mailing list, and you'll be able to get stuff like that and be a little bit more involved with the videos I get out and with things that don't get posted to YouTube. So sign up to the email list. Also, like on Facebook, follow on Instagram, and Twitter as well. So the video that was chosen through the survey was a how do I master an album using Pro Tools and PreSonus Studio One. So I'm going to take you through all the steps. The album that we're going to be going over, it is this one here by Tony Luck, and it's universally privileged. It has 8 songs on it. It was recorded, mixed, and mastered here at Raw Technique Studios. One of the songs him and I co-produced, and I'm going to show you that right now. We'll jump into another song, and then we'll go into the mastering phases. So I'll go step by step. Make sure you check this out. It is free, and it's really, really, really good. It's conscious music. It talks about more government stuff or like things going on that we should know about. Just opens your mind up a little bit and gives you stuff that you might want to go look up yourself. So really good album. Definitely check it out. It's free download. I'll have a link below so you could download it and check it out. But let's jump into the mastering and see how this album was mastered. So this is one of the songs off of the album. This one is called Soul Revolution. And in the song, it has features on it. So this is the one that Tony Luck and myself, we produced this one half and half. We just sat in the studio, made the beat. And then when we recorded it, it's Tony Luck on the verses. We have Marcus Mays as the intro. And then we have Sagara. She also goes by CC Sagara. She was really cool to record. Great vocalist. She's done stuff with like Busta Rhymes, Gucci Mane, stuff like that. So it was really cool to have her in the studio as well. But let's take a listen to the song, and then just touch on the basic mastering I do in the individual songs, and then what I do in correlation to the other songs and how I do it with getting into the next session. So let me just press play so you could have a listen here.
Time to wake up. We need you on this revelation. It's a soul situation. Time to be free. We need you on this vertical leap. The day has come to rise.
Alright, so that's just a little preview of the chorus of the song. Now, with the individual song, what I like to do when it comes down to the mastering part is just I do my normal mastering chain in the individual sessions. Now, the reason I do this and I don't save it for the big Pro Tools session is because I go back to the mix a lot. So if I'm mastering a song, whether it's for an album, a single, or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it in the session. So my compression, any type of adding in like exciter or EQ or anything I want to do, I'll do it in the actual session because maybe I add that and I like how it sounds, but it did something to the mix that I need to go back and change, so I'll be able to do that as well. So on this song, it was very basic. I did an SSL compressor, just my typical mastering setup here, with a little bit of makeup gain for the threshold, the compression that I'm getting. I usually go around, I try not to go over 4 dB of compression because then it kind of smashes the drums. So what I like to do is keep it under 4 and it kind of pumps everything up. And then I just used a limiter on here. So you can see I just pulled down my threshold, output ceiling. This one was at minus 0.1. Typically I do about minus 0.3 now. This was a song that was recorded a little while ago. But on the other songs for this album, I did a minus 0.3. And then you can see I quantized down to 16-bit, dither, noise shaping, everything. So I'm mastering in the session, the individual session. Now, the only difference between mastering for a single and an album is what I'll do is also export this into a bigger Pro Tools session. So before I do that, let's look at one more song off this album. Alright, so here's another song from the album. This one, it's not as big of a session, and you'll see my mastering chain down here. I have my SSL compressor. I still do the same thing. I just adjust the threshold to get me about around 4 dB of compression or less, make it up on the makeup gain here. I use a linear phase EQ to just come out, take off some of the lows and the highs. It just cleans it up. And then J37 is the tape emulator I like to use. I have my own setting, which I name Raw Tech Warmth and Saturation. You can see here I have the 815 formula, I have the 15 IPS for the speed, and then I add a little bit of saturation in here. So you can see what I did for my tape emulation. And then FX Vintage Exciter. This one is really cool, brightens it up, adds a little bit of crunch to it. It's not like oversaturated or anything, it just adds this like sparkle crunch to it that I really like. And then lastly, which is being hidden here, is the limiter. So L3LL Ultra, and you can see this one I had to pull the threshold down a lot to be able to get the level in there, minus 0.3, which is my ceiling I like to stay at, just to make sure it never goes over. 16 quantized down, dither, and noise shaping as well. So you can see that it's mastered in the individual session. Now what we're going to do is go into the actual mastering Pro Tools session. So these were just a couple examples of the individual songs from the album and how I personally like to master in the mixing session, because if I export just the mix, so say I don't do any of this right here in the mix and I take it over just to the mastering session, then I could do that. But if I'm like, oh, well, adding this, now I notice certain things and I want to go back to the mix, I have to open up the session again, go in, make the change, export it, bring it back in, and I don't want to go back and forth like that. I want to get my solid mix, get a nice master on it, export it into a big Pro Tools session where I have everything. So let's go over to that. So I'm going to go open up the mastering session for this album. Okay, so this is a mastering session for it. As you can see, I have the individual files. Each one was imported in here. And they're all mastered. They all have the compression, the tape emulator, whatever I wanted to do in the individual mastering for each one is already done. What I do is I have one big Pro Tools session with everything in there, and it's to make sure I have all the levels right, and I could do some touch up on a limiter just to add a little bit of level if needed, or do whatever I want. If you want, this is where you could also touch up, say one of the songs sounds a little bit darker and you want it to sound brighter to match the other songs in the album, you could add some EQ or exciter or something like that. So this is where you do the final touches, or at least for me. Other people might master different. This is just how I personally master an album. So now that we're in this, I would do any touch-ups, and I didn't need any touch-up as far as EQ or compression or anything like that. It all sounded good. I just wanted to go through and get good levels. So if I press play, one last thing. I want to go, when you're doing stuff like this, you don't want to have everything really loud and all songs playing at once. So what you want to do is have your solo mode set up to where if you go to option, solo mode, go to X, so it's going to cancel out the previous solo. Compared to the typical one is latch, where you press solo, and then when you press solo on the next track, they're both soloed. This version, the X, where it cancels out the previous solo, it's going to make it to where when you press solo, it bounces. It's not going to hold on to it. It just goes to the next one. So that makes it really easy to jump around. And also, you're not going to hear all the songs blast out at one time. So as you can see on these limiters, I'm just doing a little bit of threshold here, just to add a little bit more volume to that song. This song didn't need it. This song here, added a little bit. This song here, just added a little bit. Went through each one and tried to match all the levels as close as possible. So if I press play, you could hear, I'll just jump through them.
Universally privileged, and that's the way that they must influence the youth. Let's take a toast, here's internally. Don't need to die like a chandelier. Disagree with me, I have to elevate your life.
Okay, so you can see that all of the levels are fairly close. Like there might be a little bit of a variance, but overall it's all sounds like it should be on the album together. Everything, the brightness wise, the compression, the vocals being forward or back, everything sounds like it fits together on the album. And that's the point of mastering an album, is to make it sound like it's all part of the same product, all part of the same album. You don't want one song to sound like it's completely different than other ones, unless you're doing some type of experimental thing. But typically you want everything to sound as one, as a whole. So that's it for my big Pro Tools mastering session thing. It's just to match the levels. Now what I'm going to do, I'll close out Pro Tools. And then I'm going to take you over to Studio One. So Studio One is where I do the metadata, create the DDP files, and everything like that. So what you need to do if you're about to get started and you're going to drag in all those songs that you just mastered, go to create a new project. It'll set it up, and I'll show you what we had for this song, or for this album. All right, so this is the project setup, and I imported the audio. The cool thing is you could enter in all the information that you need. So when you export it as a iTunes playlist, you'll be able to have everything set up. The images are there, all the song names, the artist name, the length is there. It'll have the genre. We have it as conscious hip hop, the year 2016. You could add individual artwork for each individual track. So say you're doing a couple of them as singles as well, add in some artwork here. Up at the top, you can see Universally Privileged, Tony Luck, the album length, the genre, the year. We could have added artwork here if we wanted. So there's stuff like that where you could add in all the metadata, and that's the best thing about doing digital release and having all of it there. Also doing a DDP file, that's what we did here for the album, the hard copy version. We needed a DDP file to send off to the duplicator who made these. So we sent him the DDP file. It had all of this information in here. It had, we chose to have no pauses between the songs. It's 0, so just one song to the next. You could add in breaks in between. You could add in all kinds of stuff, but all of this information is able to be sent to a duplicator, and they can make CDs based off that DDP file. So you can see up here, if you click DDP, you can create a DDP image, and it'll have all your information there. Also, a digital release, say you're releasing it digitally. So you just go here, digital release. It has the order of your songs. You could do it as waves or as MP3s. If you want all of the metadata to be included into the audio file, it has to be an MP3. MP3s can hold metadata. So, for example, the image of the song could be on there. All the information about it, all the text and everything. But on a wave, it's not set up like that. A wave file can't hold an image in it as well. So if you want it to have that image attached, then an MP3, yes, it's lower quality as far as the audio goes compared to a wave. But waves are for putting together a CD. Wave is the 16-bit 44.1 wave is CD quality music. And then an MP3, if you're going to throw it up on a website or whatever, just for people to have an easy downloads to and have all the metadata attached, then you would want to switch over to MP3 file. Options, track numbers, you could add that, have it named as that, artist name, have it in there, and so on. Just press OK and it'll create it all for you. So that's how it works out. You could organize it. That's why I like PreSonus Studio One. I don't do anything in here as far as mastering goes. It's more for metadata and organization. This is my personal process. You could have just exported the mixes into here, done the mastering right here, and then have all the metadata added as well, and skip the whole part with Pro Tools having the big mastering session for levels. So I just am more comfortable in Pro Tools, but Pro Tools doesn't have all of this, all the metadata, time between each song. It doesn't have all that stuff. So that's why I like PreSonus Studio 1 for the final step. All right, and that is it. So you guys could see my whole process of mastering an album. I master in the individual Pro Tools sessions. I move to a bigger Pro Tools session to do the volume relative to each song. And then I bring it all into PreSonus Studio 1, where I do the organization and the metadata. And then I could create a DDP file, a digital release, and everything like that. All right, so hopefully that helped you guys out. Just know that that's my personal way of mastering. Other people do it different. So if you do it different, that's fine. It's not wrong or right. It's just different ways to do the same thing. So hopefully you guys learned something from that. Download that album, link below. Join the email list. Subscribe to the channel. Like on other social media. I'll have it all down below. Just stay connected. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.